What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about how to create a meta team for leaderboards, for portal runs, for basically every game mode here in the game. We're going to talk about how you can basically create the best team in order to beat everybody else or to beat every game mode in this game. So without further ado, let's get this video started. But before that, it's important to note that we are going to be doing a Secret Unit Almighty giveaway at 25,000 subscribers. So if you want to be part of the Secret Unit Almighty giveaway, then all you really have to do is to like and subscribe, because we're going to do this at 25,000 subscribers, and you could miss out on this huge giveaway if you don't subscribe right now. So if I were you, I'm gonna subscribe right now in order to be part of this huge giveaway. Alright, first and foremost, there are multiple game modes here in the game. So let's actually eliminate a few game modes. So for example, right here, story mode. Genuinely, I'm not even gonna lie to you, you don't really need that good of a unit in order to complete story mode. You can definitely complete story mode with just one secret unit, and that secret unit is going to be the gamer. You can complete the secret. You can complete story mode with just one pro gamer because of how easy it is to complete. Or you could also complete it with one Gojo, but honestly, since the pro gamer is easier to get, you could easily complete it with just the pro gamer because it is a very easy game mode. Now let's move on to the next one. Challenges is also much of just the same thing. You can genuinely complete it with almost any unit in the game. So if you want to, beat it with any unit that you want. And then next one is gonna be Tower of Eternity, Raids, and Hall of Mirrors, and then the portals, okay? So we're gonna cover these ones right now because these are the kind of difficult game modes in my opinion. So for Tower of Eternity, when creating a team for Tower of Eternity, since it is very fast, you're gonna need to have cheap units, which means you're gonna need to eliminate units like Lunar Empress because she is just way too expensive. So your team is gonna look like this right here, like how I have it in the bottom. And this team right here in the bottom is gonna help you. The first unit I'm gonna place is Legion Captain. Again, a very cheap unit, 1,250 gold to place. That's very cheap, and and she also has a very large range, which immediately helps her be very good for this game mode. The next, I'm going to be placing the pro gamer because the pro gamer can kill them, and every time he kills them, he will summon a unit or he will summon them back, which will definitely help us out quite a lot. Then I'm probably gonna place the shiny pink rockstar right here for some additional gold, and I'm gonna place the Gojo as well. And yeah, I'm not gonna like finish this entire thing because this video is gonna take way too long, but you get the point right here. Very cheap placement, and because of the cheap placement, you're essentially gonna have a good time. Now you can also place Katakuri, or right here I brought my Donut Master, and this is basically just for slow because you are going to need some slow because again, they have shields and they don't really die that easily. So placing some slows will definitely help you out quite a lot because it will make them slower. Just in case you guys don't know, you are going to need the best traits on each of these units in order to complete these game modes. Because even if you have these units, if you don't have the best and optimal traits on them, then you are going to have a hard time. And that's why I personally use 1 to 3 demands. And again, 1 to 3 demands is very good because if you click any units right here, you can actually see the most optimal trait on them. So you can see that they actually do have right here in the 1 to 3 demands the optimal mythical trait for most of these units right here. So as you guys can see, Demon King actually has an optical mythic trait, which is Requiem. The Rift Sorcerer Awakened has the optimal mythic trait Almighty. The Pro Gamer also has the optimal mythical trait, which is Almighty. And again, this is very, very good because it also shows you the total DPS with the trait. So for example, with Almighty, the total DPS of Pro Gamer or the Pro Gamer is actually going to be 23,812. And also, it shows you right here the total cost per placement, which is basically how much it costs to upgrade them. And since the Pro Gamer is 2 placement, if you place 2, it's going to be 115,000. But if you place 1, it's only going to be 57,500. Again, this is very important when creating a team because again, for game modes like Hall of Mirrors, like Raids, and Tower of Eternity, and even for portals, you are going to need to consider just how expensive they are, and also what DPS they are doing in order to properly know if they are deserving to be on your team or not. Which is why I use 1 to 3 demands because again, this is just super useful, not just for trading, but also for picking up a team. They also have a built-in tier list, so you can check other people's tier lists right here. I'm probably gonna make my next tier list here because I don't think these are accurate. Like, this is definitely not accurate right here, so I'll probably make my own tier list right here in future videos. Now let's move on to the next game mode, which is actually going to be Hall of Mirrors. Now for Hall of Mirrors, you can place units right here that are expensive, like for example Lunar Empress. However, you are going to need Almighty on them, like I said, and also you are going to need a farm unit because farm units are going to be very important in this game mode. One thing to consider when making a team for this game mode right here, you are going to need units with a ton of range. So that includes Dragon Mage with 38.6 range. That includes Lunar Empress at max upgrade. Lunar Empress at max upgrade will have a lot of range. I will also include units like Shadow Dragon that has a ton of range as well. And that will also include units like Rift Sorcerer with ton of range, because again, there are multiple lines and paths to cover, so you are gonna need to have you are going to need to have units with very high range in order to cover all of these paths, and preferably also full area of effect in order to not lose to this game mode. So yeah, the units with a ton of range is going to be the best for this game mode. So personally, your team is gonna look something like this. All of these units right here have a ton of range compared to other units, and they're also relatively cheap, except for Lunar Empress. She is the most expensive unit right now in terms of cost to DPS. And Dragon Mage is also pretty expensive, but he has a crazy amount of damage even without Almighty and at placement. Like for example, my Dragon Mage right now is doing 60,000 damage at placement. So this is the meta team for Hall of Mirrors. Now here for raids, it's pretty much what meta units there are for story mode. It's also going to be meta here. Pretty much any unit right here that has Almighty would pretty much be able to clear this game mode alone. So yeah, pretty easy game mode right here. You can definitely solo it easily if you have the units. So there's really no meta right here because again, it's quite easy. But if I had to decide for a raid meta, then it's definitely gonna look something like this. It's gonna look something like Shadow Dragon at number 1, Dragon Mage, Pink Rockstar, maybe Lunar Empress, and then also another farm unit, and then also Legion Captain right here. So why do you have 2 farm units? Again, you have 2 farm units right here because both raids and portals are actually short game modes, so you don't have enough yen to upgrade your units to max if you're only gonna bring 1 farm unit. So if you bring 2 farm units, you're gonna have more gold and you're gonna be able to upgrade more of your units faster, which is actually very important. Now if you don't have Almighty on your units, then you probably are gonna need to bring an extra unit. But if you have Almighty on your unit, which is how it's supposed to be, then you are going to need more farm units to be able to upgrade your units, and that's going to be more beneficial for you in the long run. For Infinite, the reason why I didn't really talk that much about Infinite is because Infinite is pretty much just whoever deals the most DPS, so that's going to look something like this as well. So something like this right here. So this is pretty good for Infinite, but the reason I didn't really want to cover Infinite that much in today's video is because Infinite is a team effort, not just a solo effort. If you want to be able to get into the leaderboards in Infinite, you are going to need to have a good team and a good squad of people around you, and I think I'm gonna make a separate video about that. For now, this is basically it. If you use this team and that I pretty much placed here for Tower of Eternity, Hall of Mirrors, and all that stuff, then you are pretty much going to guaranteed get into the leaderboard as long as you have the proper traits and spirits on them. So yeah, that's gonna be it.